Hello and welcome to this bite-sized professional learning for our new Health and Science Syllabus membership. So I'm going to take you through, like I did the other day, but I'm going to show you what I love so much about this new syllabus. So I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see exactly what it looks like. If you haven't had a chance to go in there, please go and have a look. Check it out because you're going to be absolutely thrilled, I think, with the way it looks. So let's have a bit of a deep dive into what I love most about this new syllabus. And obviously, you may have heard the other day that I love that it is interactive. So if you didn't see that the other day, my little sneak peek, we have our course overview here, just some information around the modules and what year 11 and 12 look like, the requirements, also hours, indicative hours, obviously spending time on each of those, a little bit of information about the depth studies, and also the hours that are going to be spent in HSC. So as you can see, it is really interactive. Rationale, aim is there, outcomes are there, so you can quickly see them at a glance. I love how we can also see how it's aligned content as well. And then let's have a look at the actual content itself and what I love most about this. So we're just going to look at the health and movement science syllabus, not the life skills syllabus. But look, I do like how we have lots of similarities to our PDHPE course, but quite a few different things that have been introduced into this brand new syllabus. So I love this idea around including. So these are the things that we have to actually cover. They're mandatory in terms of I suppose guiding questions or driving questions that the kids were going to be thinking about. I do like the overlap with, I can see some elements of CAFS in there in terms of wellbeing, inequities, that type of thing. But obviously, this is a brand new course and there are lots of different things that we can really use our skills on. Obviously, in relation to our research, we can see those ideas in there. So, of course, we do have our connections to CAFS. So if you're a CAFS teacher, you already know what validity reliability means. You know how to present findings and draw conclusions. So this is going to be a massive leg up for you guys. But also, if you're not a CAFS person, I can show you the best way to approach that. I do love the idea of the inclusion around the health of young people. It was my favourite unit of work in terms of the option to teach the kids. So I do love now that it's actually a mandatory part of our course. So I really love the idea that we can have a deep dive into the current status around Australia in terms of trends, but in terms of health issues and behaviours. I do really love that it is catering towards our students, and our students can have a really good real life perspective around this. I love how we get to do a deep dive again in some of those issues, just one health related issue, and that was similar to what we did in the option for the HSC. Many of you would know that I love application. I love how this is really applied in terms of the skills that the kids need young people need to improve their health. So I think they're really important. I think it has a great connection to our 7 to 10 syllabus. And obviously getting the kids to reflect on their own behaviours, their own decisions around health. And that's what we want our syllabus to be. We want it to be applicable. We want it to be connected to real life. So I really love that, that area of young people. Of course, we have the Ottawa Charter in there, and we also have those new Sustainable Development Goals from the United Nations, which is great. So that's a first little kind of sneak peek into our health for individuals and communities for year 11. We then have our body in motion, which shows lots of great connections to the PDHPE year 11 and 12 current syllabus as it stands. We have our muscular and skeletal systems for movement in there. So that's kind of a great connection to the body in motion that we have for year 11 at the moment. We've snuck in a little bit of biomechanics. Now, those of you who went to uni with me at ACU would know that biomechanics isn't my favourite unit of work or concept to cover, but I do like how it's very much applicable. It's applied human movement. So motion, balance, stability, fluid mechanics and force very much connected to health and movement. So we have our circulatory systems. We have our good old friend, the energy systems in there, something that the kids always struggle with for some reason. And look, I did too as a student. So I know that it is a bit more tricky for the kids to get their heads around, but I like how it's we're going to look at that from the lens of doing some practical research, which some teachers did anyway in the current form of the syllabus, but I love how that's really applicable. We then have our movement skills stuff taken from our stage 6 year 12 course, moved into year 11, but things like learners and skill acquisition, practice, whole part, that sort of thing, tactics, intrinsic feedback, that type of thing. So that's something that we very much know. We know that fairly well, but also, again, looking just at that research. What I really love is the significance and the importance that psychology and the mind and movement has come into this. So I think there'll be some really great resources that the kids can have a look at, especially with the work that Ben Crow has. If you haven't followed him, phenomenal resources around the mind and movement. So I think this is going to really connect with a lot of our kids. The collaborative investigation. Now, the kids obviously do a deep dive into specific content now. So they're going to focus on a research question that was taught in the Health for Individuals and Communities or the Body and Mind in Motion. So they can kind of choose what area. If our kids are more health-based, which I will put my hand up and say, yes, that's me, health-based, they might look at that section of our course. And then if they're more involved in the movement and science part of it, they might kind of tackle the body and mind in motion. So they can then have a look at that, and obviously working with students that are of similar ability to really do a deep dive into parts of that course. So we're not going to touch on assessment today because there's lots of things to cover. I'm just doing a quick overview as to what I really love about our new syllabus. So that's year 11. So when you want to go back into content, for year 12, it's really easy to navigate. You can kind of go through here. That's year 11 that we're showing here. So we just close that tab. And then we can kind of see what year 12 is connected with. Very, very similar to what we have currently. Obviously, we have our morbidity, mortality. We have our inequities, that type of thing. We have statistics and health status. So Australia's Health and Australian Institute of Health and Welfare, those types of organisations will very much help us. I do like the link to other groups. Of course, we did have that at the moment, but I think it'd be really great for teachers to have a look at how is this similar or different to CAFS. We have quite a few of our CAFS groups covered, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, as well as socioeconomically disadvantaged, rural and remote, culturally, linguistically diverse, people with disability, and older people or aged. Homeless people isn't covered there, but they could definitely be covered under this particular group. Socioeconomically disadvantaged people. So if you're thinking, oh my gosh, Kell, so far you've just, we've got so much to cover, don't worry because I've got your back. I love doing a big deep dive into a syllabus, a syllabi. I've done it my whole career. I've really been invested in that, not just in the classroom as a classroom teacher, but in multiple roles across New South Wales. So president of non-profit organisation supporting PDHPE teachers, but also on the board for that. So facilitating professional learning for the best part of 12 years. When I left the classroom in 2020, I had this vision to help PDHPE and CAFS teachers eventually. But I think I didn't really realise that would happen that quickly. And I feel very blessed now to be able to support Stage 6 PDHPE and now Health and Movement Science as well. So if you're looking for someone to support you, a group of like-minded teachers, like a community, rather than just one and done professional learning where you might have to go somewhere to do a course, it will be via Zoom, and we'll obviously have the opportunity to meet face-to-face next year in our Health and Movement Science Summit. So that's going to be really exciting, where we get to all sit down and meet each other to do that, to have a really deep dive into things. So If you are thinking about joining us in the Health and Movement Science membership, please let us know. But I will make all of this so much easier, digestible for you, and lots of resources, which is my go-to to help make sense of all of our new syllabus information. Okay, so let's quickly go through Year 12, looking at other countries. I don't mind that connection where we look at Australia versus other countries. I think that's a really timely reminder about what's happening in our current country around health. So I don't mind that idea of looking at that. I also love that we get to have a look at, again, another health condition in Australia. And of course, the importance of an aging population. That was one of the parts I really loved about the current Stage 6 PDHPE course, because we get to have a look at currently what's happening for aged individuals in our country, and because of their health status, because of the support, aged care, it's a really big priority in Australia. So I love that we get to show the kids what it's really like. We also look at the healthcare system, which is what we're doing at the moment. Prevention versus cure, or healthcare versus prevention, all those sort of things. And we also look at, obviously, complementary healthcare approaches, but also what it actually means to be a critical consumer in today's community and society. We then have this is, I think, a different spin on this, and I really love this idea. We do touch on it a little bit in some of our syllabus for Stage 6 PE, but I love the growing use of technology. I really love this part. I know that it does feature in improving performance, but I love how it's had a really big impact on this syllabus because technology, we know, is changing our world. And I think, again, if you're a CAFS person, you'll love that because that technology does definitely come in here. Some data around big issues in Australia. I think that's really great for our kids to be aware of what's happening out there in our country, and data obviously shaping our country. All right, in terms of the sustainable goals, development goals, we have some areas that we're going to be covering with the kids. So that might be fairly new to you if you haven't looked at that before. But around that community health, I think is pretty important. And obviously you'll see elements and links to the Ottawa Charter, Jakarta Declaration, that type of thing, like what happens in community health and how that can be changed. Okay, training for improved performance. We obviously have our training, so a bit of a combo between improving performance and Core 2, kind of bringing those two together. And you'll see elements of both of those in here. So our training principles, our flexibility, aerobic, etc., training methods. We then have principles of training, physiological adaptations. And then we also have a look at some things around safety and training sessions and considerations when we're actually developing a session, which I think is good for the kids, really practical aspect in training programs. I think that's really important to have a look at. What I really love is inclusion around sleep. I think it's there's so much research out there at the moment around sleep and performance, and I really love that it's been included into this new syllabus. So hats off to our writers with that inclusion, obviously, as well as supplementation, nutrition going hand in hand with that. We then have a little link to biomechanics again in terms of efficiency in our movement. And then we also have our physiological and psychological strategies to improve performance, which again is one of my favorite parts of the current syllabus anyway. Technology comes back in again. We also then have some things that you might see from the first aid, kind of connected with assessment of injuries, that type of thing. Obviously, Core 2 is very much featured in here as well, and a bit of drug use at the end, which again has that connection to improving performance. So there are the two cores, and then we have a look at our investigation. So let's go back into that. In terms of the assessment task, we can have a look at the way that is connected, and obviously the assessments look very different to what we currently have in terms of our current status. So the requirements there, 60-40 is still the same, which I kind of love that connection. We have similar weightings for our tasks. And obviously the main difference and what's causing a lot of people a bit of anxiety is around assessment with the collaborative investigation in year 11. And look, I want to rest assure you that CAFS teachers have been doing this for a really long time. Bio do it well, drama, dance, you guys will be okay. I promise you. There will be some teething issues, obviously, from at a ground level with the kids, but that happens all the time with collaborative work. So I've got your back with that. I've got lots of things that I can use from our CAFS syllabus to bring across in terms of scaffolds, in terms of procedures and processes around research and group research. So don't stress about that. You'll be fully prepared when you get there. Obviously, year 12, and then we have our depth studies that the kids are going to tackle as well in stage 6. So that's just a little snapshot of what I really love about the new health and movement science syllabus. And I'm going to be honest, like I'm always a glass half full type of person because I like to look at things. I'm not afraid of change. I know some of you don't like change. So I feel very blessed to be able to support you. I feel confident that we're going to get through it together. And we do have essentially a year and a half to get our heads around year 11. And then obviously the same time again, as we're teaching the new year 11 course, to get our heads around year 12. So it is a staged process. Obviously next year is about familiarization with the syllabus, getting your head around it, working out how you're going to approach it with your kids around assessment. And if you would love to join us in the Health and Science Movement syllabus or membership, you'll have all the support that you need to tackle that for next year. And of course, beyond that, you'll have my support as well. But look, I think the greatest thing about this new syllabus is that it's current, it's modern, it gets our kids to apply their understanding. There are some things around research that I think as PE teachers, we kind of know, but also for us to improve on. But again, if you're like me and you're excited, let me know. If you're not, if you're a bit nervous, rest assured that I'll have your back as we navigate this new syllabus. But if you would love to join us in the Health and Movement Science membership, please let us know. Send me a DM or you can send us an email about some more details around that. But it will be ongoing support with this new syllabus. It won't be a one and done course. It won't discriminate based on where you live. You'll have access online, and obviously that's my area of strength, doing professional learning online. So you'll have access to our membership portal, playbook and discounts on all the resources I bring out for the new syllabus, but also anything else inside the Learning Network. But otherwise, let me know what you think. First impressions. It's really exciting time for PDHPE across New South Wales. And don't be too nervous because I will support you all the way. All right, guys, have a great day.